Shabbat Shalom. Today, I'd like to talk about musical theater. Why is musical theater, remarkably, still popular in America today? True, as we know, the substance has changed over the last 80 years, from the classics of Showboat and Oklahoma, to Guys and Dolls, to Bernstein and West Side Story, through Sondheim, the rock musicals of the 70s, Les Mis, and the works of Andrew Lloyd Webber in the 80s and 90s, on to Rocky Horror and Rent, and movie musicals like The Producers, and even jukebox musicals like Jersey Boys and Mamma Mia. And of course, let's not forget the show at the heart of televising the musical theater idiom in the 21st century, Glee. Across age and gender, and in the theaters and in movies and on television, musical theater, perhaps strangely, perhaps not strangely, continues to hold a place in our hearts. Many of your children, I know, are aspiring and or current, Yasher Koach, actors in school musicals, giving you the opportunity to not only shep nachas, but to revisit the reasons that we love musicals in the first place. And what are those reasons? One reason I contend is that musical theater demonstrates to us the vitality of human life and of human emotion through song. We follow, for example, Tony's love of Maria with bated breath. And when he begins with the most beautiful sound I ever heard, our hearts sing with him, Maria, 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 Maria. When Curly tells us about that bright golden haze on the meadow and what a beautiful morning it is, we too begin to envision that beautiful day when nature is singing and the birds are out, and maybe there's a chance that one day we could feel that everything's going our way. And when Elphaba defies gravity in Wicked, we are filled with that life-affirming triumph of the thought that we too could one day rise up and defy all those voices and wizards that ever thought they could bring us down. Musical theater shows us life and takes the emotions that we're so often out of touch with: happiness, sadness, grief, fear, and love, and lifts them up with music. It raises a mirror to our hearts and, like all theater, shows us new possibilities of what a fully vital human life can be like. A life lived with all the zest and passion of a tap-dancing, harmony-singing, kick-lining, high-note belting, standing ovation musical number. Now, why am I talking about all this? Because this week's Parsha features probably the most famous number in Jewish musical history. Yes, even trumping Bach and Harnick's If I Were a Rich Man. This musical number is none other than Shirat Hayam, the song at the sea. How else can we explain thousands of Israelites breaking into the same song at one time with no rehearsal about an event that had just happened? I will tell you that this very fact confounded Chazal. It confounded the rabbis as well. The Talmud in Talmud Sota claims that the song must have been repeated, that the Israelites must have repeated after Moses. Though Tosefta, an earlier compilation of Jewish law, on the other hand, claims that the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, must have come down and filled all of the Israelites with the same thoughts and the same praise. And the Midrash in Mechilta Shirta can't abide this and simply claims that Moses sang on behalf of the Israelites. But to me, really, that kind of reason's not important. What's important is the moment. This is the iconic musical number of the Bible, the paradigm of biblical song. So much so that it has special rituals when we read it in synagogue. As we did today, we stood up and we repeated certain verses. We reenacted the moment. And that this Shabbat of this week's Parsha takes on the name Shabbat Shirah, after the importance of the song. In fact, this moment is so important, so central, so moving, that the Jewish people enshrined it in our Siddur, in our daily prayers. This morning we read a paraphrase of this very scene. Moshe u'bnei Yisrael lechanu shira. Moses and the children of Israel sang to you a song. B'simcha rabbah, with great joy. V'amru chulam. And they all sang, Mi chamocha va'elim Adonai. Right? Whenever you're singing Mi chamocha, we are enacting this dramatic moment. We are traveling back thousands of years and joining our ancestors at the sea. We are taking our place in the chorus, singing out our praises, tap dancing our joy, belting out our liberty, and kicklining our way down the yellow brick road to the promised land. It's inspiring stuff, right? But somehow, shul seems to rarely end up being that dramatic, right? Which leads me to the classic question that has been asked by generation after generation of Jews. Why is shul not like a musical? Is it simply that we don't use instruments? Is it that we need a different type of music? Or maybe if more people came to shul, a lot more people, maybe with some sequins. No, my friends, I think it's for two reasons. One is that as actors in this musical, we really struggle to learn our lines. The Hebrew can be challenging, and the Siddur, the script, is really long. The music of the service is diverse, and sometimes new melodies come in that we haven't heard before. And on the ground level, we struggle to even know what the words we're saying mean. It's clear that the musical of the Siddur, like any script, requires rehearsal. Now, fortunately, I come to announce to you that on this account, your Bethel synagogue is rising to the occasion. Our clergy just piloted a learner's service with great success, and it is, I believe, on the road to becoming a monthly fixture here at Bethel. I myself am beginning a series of online recordings of all of the Shabbat, and eventually, B'ezrat Hashem, all of the weekday prayers to be put on the Bethel website, so that you and your family can learn on your computer or iPhone or Droid or iPad or tablet or electronic device of choice. And today, after Kiddush, at 12:40 p.m., once you've had a nash, in Zayler Auditorium, right behind this sanctuary, I invite you all to join me for our first Bethel Melodies class, to be held at least once a month. There we'll sing together, we'll learn new zmirot, new nigunim, and new melodies, and explore how they musically fit the theater of the service. So if you love to sing or have a desire or need to feel more at home in synagogue, both its words and its new melodies, please come. Know that you are not alone, and our shul is responding to help. But I think it goes beyond that. For if we simply knew the words and knew what they meant, it wouldn't necessarily produce the kind of fervor and passion and vitality that we look for in musical theater. There are plenty of services out there filled with knowledgeable people, but yet somehow lack passion and spirit. How could this be? What could be missing? My friends, if services are without passion, if shul is not like a musical, it is because we are not yet like the characters. In some ways, our ancestors had it easy. They experienced deliverance coming out of Egypt, the hand of God, firsthand. They didn't even have to be method actors. They lived it. But ever since then, generation after generation of Jews have prayed these words without having been there. They have simply acted as if. As the Torah and the Haggadah reminds us each year, they saw themselves as we must see ourselves, as if each one of us had been personally taken out of Egypt. The great Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, in his book Man's Quest for God, puts the issue succinctly. The problem is not how to revitalize prayer, he says. The problem is how to revitalize ourselves. We must learn, he continues, how to study the inner life of the words that filled the world of our prayer book. Without intense study of their meaning, we feel, indeed, bewildered when we encounter the multitude of those strange, lofty beings that populate the inner cosmos of the Jewish spirit. It's not enough to know how to translate Hebrew into English. It's not enough to have met a word in the dictionary and to have experienced unpleasant adventures with it in the study of grammar. A word has a soul, and we must learn how to attain insight into its life. My friends, the Siddur is the script for the musical of our lives. And our job is to discover the characters that the Siddur encourages us to be. If we look, as Heschel says, to the inner life, to the soul of the words, we discover much about the characters who wrote them. We find that they were sensitive to the miracles of creation. They were steadfast in their love of man and of law and of wisdom. And they were passionate about faith and redemption of our lives. From the table in the corner, they could see a world reborn, redeemed by both God's hands and our own. And they rose with voices ringing, singing, Ashir Ladonai ki gaoga, susverok voramavayam. The song at the sea, the music of a people who will not be slaves again. This is our musical, the one that we enact every Shabbat and every day. And to feel that zest, to experience the vitality of life through song, not only must we prepare our minds and our mouths and our voices, but our souls as well, to be transformed by this role that we were each born to play. It is a commitment requiring study, rehearsal, and an open heart. For some, it may come easy, and for some, it will at first feel like acting. But even acting as if, as we learned in the Seder, can have profound effects upon us and open to us deeper experiences than we ever thought possible. Only then, when we join in this Act 1 finale together, we will not only know the lines, we will be the characters. We will feel the redemption of our people, of our families, and know what it means for us personally to be redeemed. We will know our duty to bring redemption to the world, to pour forth our boundless gratitude to the one, the Redeemer of Israel. That is the soul of musical theater in the synagogue. When the beating of your heart echoes the beating of these words, my friends, there is a life about to start. And it is a Jewish life of endless possibility. It may seem like that life will only happen tomorrow, but as we know, tomorrow comes. Shabbat Shalom.